So Mike Pompeo, the purple McDonald's monster, he gave a speech here, and get ready for some laughs. Okay, get ready for some laughs. So I wrote that Mike Pompeo did a comedy skit. Let's listen to what he had to say, man.
And from a pure foreign policy standpoint, Israel is an essential security partner. It's a model. It's a model in the Middle East of how to create a thriving economy.
Okay, stop right there. It's a what? A model in the Middle East of how to create a thriving economy. How are they a thriving economy if you subsidize them for no reason, unconditionally? I'm pretty sure every country would love to receive $38 billion over the span of 10 years, right? $3.8 billion a year. This is what Obama and Joe Biden did. And make no mistake, before the Obama administration, the Zionist occupation has been receiving not just military and financial aid and political immunity on the world stage from the United States, but from the entire Western world, from NATO, from the UN. They get away with everything. And, you know, when you come in and literally confiscate people's lands, bulldoze their homes, yeah, you could probably end up having a thriving economy, being subsidized and stealing other people's land. Yeah, sure. What a joke.
And Israel, too, is a bastion of freedom in the region.
What? Israel is a bastion of what? Freedom, he said. Israel is a bastion of freedom in the region. Really? Is that why they arrested Mahmoud Nawajah the other day? The general coordinator of the BDS movement? Is that why they sent 20 soldiers with machine guns to his house at 3 a.m. and they handcuffed and blindfolded him and took him away from his family in the middle of the night? Does that seem like a bastion of freedom to you, where you can't even protest peacefully? BDS, boycott, divestment, sanctions, is by definition a peaceful protest. That's the entire premise and guise of this movement. It's a peaceful protest. Where is his right to protest? Where is his right to free speech? Because you didn't just say it's a democracy, you said it's a bastion of freedom. Those are very strong qualifying terms, right? A bastion of freedom. And weirdly enough, I heard no mention of Mahmoud Nawajah's arrest in the Jerusalem Post or Haaretz or any of the mainstream media outlets in Israel, which, once again, Israel constantly market themselves and claim to be the only democracy in the Middle East. Now, this is just a hunch, but maybe if you get arrested in the middle of the night by 20 soldiers, not police, soldiers, and you're taken off without charges and thrown into a jail for weeks, and you're denied access to lawyers, don't sound much like a democracy to me. And when the media is too scared to even report about it, don't sound like a bastion of freedom to me, right? And when you have 4,700 Palestinian prisoners locked up in confined spaces during a pandemic, and you have kids, hundreds and hundreds of kids, Palestinian kids, who can't see their parents, who are denied access to lawyers. What is that? You call yourself a just society? Who does that? Who does that? You don't even have one person, one vote. Palestinians are treated like third-class citizens if they're not being killed, right? Depends which zone you go to, right? Bastion of freedom. Oh yeah, Gaza, the open-air prison under military occupation and siege by the Zionists. You call that a product of a bastion of freedom? You call annexing other people's lands democracy, freedom.
I'm proud that there's not been any administration that has supported Israel in the way that President Trump and our administration has done.
Now, that's debatable. That's debatable. Since you won't qualify aid, you support them unconditionally, not just militarily, financially, economically, but equally on the world stage, in international bodies, at the UN, through NATO. Every single administration has done that without fault. And Joe Biden, just the other day, during the DNC Platform Committee, further proved my point, cementing this long line of unconditional support to Israel, that they won't even refer to what Palestinians are going through as a military occupation. They won't even recognize what they are going through. And make no mistake, it is nothing less than a military occupation. It's not just apartheid, right? It's more than that. It's much more than that. And so the DNC Platform Committee won't even recognize that, won't condition aid to Israel. And why would they? Because every single administration supports Israel unconditionally. Every single one.
Each of the actions we've taken have been criticized. There's a reason they weren't done before. We moved our embassy to Jerusalem.
This is a blatant violation, not just of Palestinians' dignity, human rights, history, culture, but of international law. Once again, UN Resolution 242 and other multiple UN resolutions that are binding, that were unanimously approved, clearly, explicitly declare that Israel not only has to pull out of the Golan Heights and pull out of the West Bank and pull out of East Jerusalem, and that this is to be an international zone divided equally. But you think they care? Once again, double standard. You know, there's one set of rules for the Western world and another set of rules for the global South. The Western powers, including Israel, they get sovereignty. You got to respect their borders, right? They can do no wrong. They have international rights. But everyone else, no.
We said that the Golan Heights is a part of Israel.
تلحس طيزي. تلحس طيزي. Fuck you. Okay? You know what? I'm just going to declare California is part of Zimbabwe now. Fuck you. It's part. I'm telling you, California is part of Zimbabwe. And Mexico is taking Texas back. I just declared it, man. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. That's how ridiculous he sounds. That's how ridiculous he sounds. Once again, clear violation of Syrian sovereignty, clear violation of international law, complete, absolute disrespect for international bodies and cooperation and diplomacy. Zero. Just spitting in the faces of all Arabs, spitting in the faces of the international community and the world stage. Yeah, once again, it's not your land. You have no say in this. Zero. Zero. Tfu عليك كلب واطي. And they fucking know. They know exactly how valuable the Golan Heights are. Oh, they even got ski resorts there. Yeah, it snows. Oh yeah, it snows. They got ski resorts. They've been drilling, looking for oil. And not to mention, this is an extremely, extremely important vantage point, right? The Golan Heights. You have an enormous military advantage. Whoever controls the Golan Heights, directly overlooking Israel, and they know this. That's why they won't let it go. Because they'll always come up to you and they'll always say like, oh man, Israel just wants peace. And you know, these Arabs, they're just too cuckoo. They just won't sit down and talk to us. They won't negotiate with us. And we tried and we tried. Yeah, you know why? Because their idea of peace does not include giving back the land they stole. They're not going to give back the Golan Heights. Why would you make peace with someone who wants to steal your land? Is that peace? That's called shitting on you and trying to make you accept it. Look at Fatah. Look at Abbas, who tore up the Oslo Accords just a few weeks ago. He tried diplomacy. He's not Hamas. Arafat agreed to abandon armed struggle. What did that get them? Still no Palestinian state. And then Israel says, we're going to take more of your fucking land. Here's an annexation plan. And then Kushner comes in with the deal of the century. That's what being diplomatic got the Palestinians. Fuck all. Not a single country on the face of this planet, except America, recognizes the Golan Heights as Israeli. Not a single one. Not fucking one. Matter of fact, there are more countries who don't even recognize Israel's fucking existence in the first place than there are countries who consider the Golan Heights to be Israeli. This is ridiculous. Dude, this whole fucking region has always been Syria. It's not been anything else. Okay? Let me break this down very simply. Do you see the Golan Heights over here? The occupied Golan Heights? All of this is Syrian. All of it. The whole thing. Okay? All of this over here. All of this. So when you hear people trying to justify not just the illegal annexation, but these bombings that you saw yesterday by saying that, oh, these alleged Hezbollah fighters crossed the Alpha line. They went over this blue line over here. Motherfucker, it's still Syria. This is still Syria. This is still Syria. I don't care if they crossed the Alpha line or not. I don't care if they were playing ping pong. They have more right to be in that country than you do. You know why? Because they came in legally. They were invited by the Syrian government. Not you are an illegal occupational force. And you won't fuck off, which is why we have UNDOF. We have the United Nations Disengagement and Observer Force in the first place. Because you won't fuck off. Because you're illegally occupying this land, which is not yours, which the entire planet has agreed on. Like there's not even any kind of debate, none whatsoever. Even the United States, remember I told you, UN Resolution 242 passed unanimously in the Security Council. Even the US was on board with this. They're very clear. Get out of the Golan Heights, get out of the Sinai Peninsula, get out of the West Bank, and get out of East Jerusalem. Go back to the 67 borders. This is very clear. And it's only Trump. It's only Donald Trump. Donald Trump and Mike Pompeo said, we recognize the Golan Heights as part of Israel. Dude, that's not yours to recognize or give away. You're not Syrian. You're not the president of Syria. Why don't you give them a piece of fucking Mount Rushmore? I don't know. Give them some of your shit. I don't give a fuck what you recognize. This is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. What is the difference between Donald Trump saying that and me saying right now, like, yeah, you know what, man? I recognize Seattle as part of Zimbabwe. And you know what? I think that California should go back to Mexico, including Texas. I just do. I recognize it as such. That's the way it is. Fuck you. That's how ridiculous Donald Trump sounds. That's how ridiculous the United States sounds. Okay? And that's just the Golan Heights. It's the same thing for the annexation plan, which they wanted to carry through on July 1st. Who are you to give 30% of the West Bank to anyone or support this in any way? Who are you to do that? Completely ludicrous. You are on the other side of the planet. You have no business here. So there you go, man. Let me get a sip. And once again, Notice the double standard and the sheer callous, brazen hypocrisy of how these countries, the United States and Israel, claim to be the beacons of democracy and that they are the ones who respect international law. And then they annex land and give away land that is not theirs. You can't make this up. You can't make this up, man. I mean, there's people still alive that are older than Israel. What is this? What kind of joke is this?
We've now unveiled a vision for peace that recognizes reality on the ground, the biblical truths in that special place. And we've said that anti-Zionism is indeed anti-Semitism, period.
Wait a second. You unveiled a vision for peace? What vision is that? You sure as hell ain't talking about that Kushner peace plan. No. No, you sure ain't talking about that, are you? You mean the plan where you give the Zionists even more land and you don't even tell Palestinians when they can have a state? And if it's coming, it's going to be divided into 5 parts connected with tunnels? That thing that looks like a piece of lettuce? You call that a peace plan? The peace plan that you negotiated between yourselves, the US and Israel, without involving a single Palestinian. That peace plan? Oh, right. Right. Wow. Some fucking diplomatic endeavor. Anti-Zionism is indeed anti-Semitism. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? Who comes up with this shit, honestly? Zionism is a political ideology, first of all. I mean, look at how they support this. How did they support this in the UK? In France, 100 years ago. Look at how they're still supporting this in the US. This is a colonialist settler project. Anti-Semitism. Are you seriously telling me that the Palestinians and the Syrians and the Egyptians and all of these people who are literally fucking Semitic, just like me, we are anti-Semitic. We are anti-ourselves. Motherfucker, we are more Semitic than some of the people coming in and then claiming to be Israelis, who are like coming from the US or from Europe, who are fucking white. They're white. I'm from the oldest fucking city in the world. Never mind in the Middle East. You gonna dare to sit there and tell me I'm not Semitic? Go and fuck yourself. You can't play this game with me. What do you think, I'm stupid? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.